Hey guys, I'm Natel, and today I'm going to show you how to get Malfeasance Exotic Hand Cannon. For starters, this is a Gambit quest, and what you have to do to start this quest is play Gambit. That's it. Now when you're playing Gambit, you are going to have a chance of having a random spawn for our boss. That random spawn is an Ascendant Primeval Servitor, which is what you're seeing on screen. If you get this boss at the end, you have to defeat it and win, and that's how you're going to kick off your Malfeasance quest. So again, you have to play Gambit. However, this boss spawn is random. So you can play one game and get the boss to spawn. You can play 2 games and get the boss to spawn. You can play 10 games, maybe less, maybe more. But again, it's all random. And once you play it, you have to get this Ascendant Primeval Servitor, what you're seeing on screen. You have to beat it and win the game, win the match. So for me, I actually played 3 Gambit games, and this is my 3rd game, and this is when the Ascendant Primeval Servitor spawned in for us. And so once you do get it to spawn in, all you're going to do is focus on taking that Ascendant Primeval Servitor down. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about invading. If you do have an invader, take care of the invader as quickly as possible. But once you defeat the Ascendant Primeval Servitor, he's going to drop this item for you. That item is called the Seething Heart. What you're going to do with the Seething Heart, you're going to take it to the Drifter, and that's going to kick off your Malfeasance Exotic quest. As usual, I have tried to cut out all the dialogue from the quest, so there's no spoilers, so if you want to experience it yourself, you can. Now when you return to the Drifter, the Seething Heart turns into City of Secrets. For City of Secrets, this quest step is defeat 25 taken bosses or mini bosses, and the only place you can do this is in the Dreaming City. Now for this part, this is probably the most grindiest part of the quest, because you can do this one way. This way is running this exact lost sector 25 times, because there is a taken boss at the end of it. There are 2 yellow taken bar taken phalanxes. Those don't actually count, only the boss. So again, you can run this lost sector 25 times and do it that way. If running Aphelion's Rest is not your thing 25 times, there is Chamber of Starlight that has another taken boss at the end of it. And again, you can do these 2 lost sectors 25 times, and that's going to get this quest step done. But it just takes a long time, right? To run the lost sector, go back out, do it again, go back out. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, the fastest way is this right here on screen, this Taken Blight by the entrance to the Blind Well. When you see this Taken Blight appear, start shooting it or join this event as quickly as possible, because ads are going to come out. The more that you kill the ads, eventually a taken boss will spawn. However, not only that, you are going to get, if you can also get the event where it says the enemy are moving against each other at the same time as this Taken Blight, this is by far the easiest way to get 25 taken kills for the bosses and mini bosses. And in one run, if you have the Taken Blight that you see right here on screen by the entrance to the Blind Well, and if you have the enemies moving against each other event, so if you have these 2 events in one run, you can get upwards of up to 7 taken boss kills or mini boss kills. So this is by far the easiest way to do it. However, this event doesn't happen very often. Another thing is, in this exact spot, you're going to have a public event, a taken public event. So if you can get the Taken Blight by the Blind Well, if you can get the enemies moving against each other, and you can get a taken public event, that's going to be the most efficient way, the fastest way to get your 25 taken boss kills and mini boss kills. So if you can combine those three events, like in this event right here, I had the Taken Blight, but I also had the enemies moving against each other, and once Taken start coming out of the blind well, they're the more you kill them, you're gonna get higher yellow bars, and then these yellow bars count. So again, if you can somehow get these two events to stack at the same time, it's going to be by far the fastest and easiest way to get your 25 taken mini boss and boss kills. That's it. Again, another thing you can do if you don't want to do lost sectors, if you don't want to wait around for this taken blight to show up, or you don't want to wait for the enemies moving against each other event, you can roam the Dreaming City, because doing so you will bump into roaming yellow bar taken bosses. That's it. That's another way you can do it. Now again, if you go out and you're just roaming the Dreaming City, this might take longer because again, roaming bosses just don't show up all the time. But that is another method that you can do. You can roam the Dreaming City and hopes to bump into a roaming taken boss, and when you do take out that taken boss, that will count towards one of your kills for the boss or mini bosses. So again, you have your lost sector, you have public events, you have the enemies moving against each other, you have the taken blight here at the entrance by the blind well, and you have roaming taken bosses in the Dreaming City. Those are your 5 ways to get your kills. Again, City of Secrets is by far the grindiest step, but once you figure it out, it actually becomes very easy. Because my first time, it just took me forever. So again, right here I was just roaming the Dreaming City, and I happened to stumble on this event, which was a Taken Blight that was floating above the ground. And same thing, it had ads and it had a Taken boss, and this counted towards one of my kills. This is where I actually finished it, because I was just roaming around, going from location to location, hoping that the Taken Blight by the entrance to the blind well would appear again, or I was waiting for the enemy is moving against each other or a public event, and then just roaming around. This was random luck, a random encounter that I stumbled on, and it ended up that the random bosses that you see roaming the Dreaming City, the taken bosses you see roaming the Dreaming City, those count. So that's another option. If you're waiting for a public event or things like that, you can just roam around. You'll bump into a taken roaming boss, and that'll count. And once you do that, your quest step becomes the Corrupted. For the Corrupted step, the name is what it sounds, or what it is. You're running the Corrupted Strike. However, this is a special version of the Corrupted Strike. A quest marker is going to show up. You're going to go to it. You're going to start the mission as usual, and the Corrupted Strike is the same until you get to the end. So again, I made sure to cut out any dialogue or anything like that to keep it as spoiler free as possible. This way you can experience it yourself. So it's all the same until you get to a very specific part, and you can't avoid this part. So this part is right here. This boss is going to spawn in. You defeat this boss, and you will be prompted to scan something right next to where you are at, and you will have a set of dialogue, which again I've cut out to remain as spoiler free as possible. Once you do that, it completes the third step, the Corrupted step of the Malfeasance quest. Again, the, this strike, the Corrupted strike, is the same until you get to this part. And this part, you can't miss it, you can't avoid it. You are going to end up in this spot regardless. If you're running the special Corrupted mission or strike, it's going to take you here no matter what. You're not going to play out the strike as you normally would. So again, you will not miss it. Once you defeat the boss, again, you're prompted to scan something. When you do, something happens, which of course I cut it out. Now, once you complete this quest step, the Corrupted, you're going to get your next quest step, which is business as usual. before you can officially move on to business as usual, you're going to need to visit the drifter. And once you do, again, you're going to have a conversation. And once you have that conversation, if you want to listen to it all, your quest step then becomes business as usual. For business as usual, it's once again a gambit step. And special shout out to Kratos and Crusher for helping me out because we were just running gambit games. So for business as usual, what you have to do is you have to win 10 gambit games. That's one part. Second part, you have to deposit motes. However, every time you lose a mote or you drop a mote, you lose twice that amount. So if you're carrying 10 motes and you have an invader and the invader kills you, you are going to lose 20 motes. So if you have 15 motes and you have blockers and the blockers kill you, you are going to lose 30 motes. And this does negatively impact your quest step. So if you were at 50% and you're losing motes, that 50% is going to drop down. So again, for business as usual, you have to win 10 gambit games. Again, shout out to Nothing Remains. Shout out to Kratos and Crusher for helping me out with this step. You have to win the 10 games. No ands, ifs, or buts. There's no other way around it. And you have to deposit motes. Now, if you're not too comfortable with depositing motes, what you can do is maybe deposit 5 at a time. This way, if an invader comes in, or if you have a blocker and you die, you lose 10 motes versus 30. But again, all you have to do is kill enemies, collect the motes, and deposit them. But you can't lose any motes. You lose motes, it reduces your quest step, or it affects your quest step negatively. So again, if you're at 75% and you just lost 30 motes, when you check your quest step, it's going to have subtracted that from your 75%. So again, all you're doing is killing enemies, collecting motes, depositing the motes, and you're winning 10 gambit games. That's it. That's what business as usual is. And again, if you don't feel comfortable carrying large amounts of motes, all you have to do is deposit 5 motes at a time. This way, if an invader comes in, you have 5 motes. If someone else has 15, the invader's going to go in for the person that has the most motes. I'm not saying you are not going to get taken out. I'm saying that you have a lower chance of being taken out if you have 5 motes because it's not that much. Once you complete business as usual, your quest step becomes lights out. By far, the best quest step of the entire Malfeasance exotic quest. For lights out, you have to defeat 25 opposing guardians in Gambit, and you have to defeat 4 opposing guardians as an invader 1 time to get the Army of 1 medal, or you have to have a teammate defeat 4 opposing guardians 3 times in a single invasion. Now, again, by far the best and easiest step. So to defeat your 25 opposing guardians in Gambit, it can be you as an invader getting kills, or you can kill the invader. That counts. Best way to do this is to invade. The reason for that is you know where the enemy's at. As soon as you spawn in, you have the advantage because you can see the enemy. So if you were an invader, as soon as you invade, you can see where all the 4 opposing guardians are at. So you have the advantage. And this also helps you with your defeating 4 opposing guardians as an invader to get Army of 1. It gives you that practice. So if you have to defeat 25 opposing guardians, use that as your practice for your Army of 1 medal. And again, this is by far the easiest step if you are an invader, because as soon as you invade, guess what? You have the advantage. You can see where the enemy guardians are at. They can't see you unless they spot you. So if you want to do this with a Truth rocket launcher, a Two-Tailed Fox, if you don't want to get close and you want to keep your distance, those 2 rocket launchers work really well. Another thing is if you want to use snipers, keep your distance, you can do that. If you want to use a scout rifle, you can do that. For me, I play very aggressively. So I'm the get in your face kind of invader because that for me has allowed me to get Army of One much easier. So again, all you're doing is killing 25 opposing guardians in Gambit, and the best way to do this is as an invader. You go and invade, you have the advantage. You can spot the 4 opposing guardians automatically, and you just take them out. For Army of One, it's the same thing as defeating your 25 guardians. All you're doing is invading, and you're playing very aggressively. As you can see here, I invaded, and at the last second, I got my 4th kill with my super. So you can do it my way, save your special until the end, or you can use your special right away. But one thing I have noticed for me personally, as a warlock, it's been much easier to kill 4 opposing guardians as an invader one time and get Army of One medal versus as playing as a titan, because as a warlock you can Nova Bomb as you're leaving and you have a higher chance of getting 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people if they're together. So again, it's a very easy step, and once you complete Lights Out, you will need to return to the Drifter, and he's going to give you your Malfeasance hand cannon, and that's it. You complete your exotic quest. I'm Nate Tell. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next guide.